All right, lots more reaction coming through on the latest developments within the opposition party. Of course, breaking news there, the resignation, of course, of the DA leader Mmusi Maimane and Athol Trollip. We'll go to ANC, a reaction now, or in fact, I'm hearing that we will have on our screen what seems to be something that's been put together by part of our team. Are we putting that on screen at the moment? All right, we won't put that on screen at the moment. Let's get some reaction now from the ANC on that, and of course we'll also talk about the 50th anniversary of the Morogoro Conference, which was seen as a watershed changing moment in the fight for liberation in South Africa. Pule Mabe, the ANC spokesperson, joins me now. Pule, thank you very much indeed for your time this evening. I think it would be suicide for me not to ask for your reaction on the current political landscape that we're seeing, the opposition party and the resignations there.
Well, evening and evening to your viewers. The African National Congress is seized with a number of its own programs, which have outlined, including what it launched today as the Morogoro 50th anniversary. We have gone out and said that we are not going to make it our primary focus to be talking about what is happening in the Democratic Alliance, including what is now in the news, the resignation of the DA leader Mmusi Maimane. Because we in the ANC have always been watching some of these developments with keen interest. More so because throughout history we have always set the agenda of transforming the living conditions of our people, fighting against the triple challenges which we have defined in our own strategy and tactics document, being poverty, unemployment and inequality. Inequality raising its ugly head in numerous occasions, sometimes through racism, issues of racial inequality. And what we set ourselves to fight for in the ANC was to make sure that we create an organization that is not liberal, one that could be able to accommodate the views of all South Africans, regardless of the colors of their skin and their religious orientation and their creed as well. We did so because we understood that constructing a country that everyone could call home requires that we accommodate all of these views. So it is beginning to show on how things are being done in some of these political parties where there seems to be a difficulty of even accepting simple outcomes of their own internal democratic processes. We in the ANC have gone through all of these processes, we have gone through all of these motions, and never has there been a time in the African National Congress where we sought to shift our issues and want to place blame on other parties.
I understand, Mr. Mabe, that you wouldn't want to focus on the goings-on in the official opposition, but obviously this is the official opposition of the country.
Correct,
You're
correct.
saying that as the ANC, you've always fought for the equality and inclusiveness of everyone,
Correct.
black or white.
Correct.
Yet the official opposition itself has been faced with some of those challenges where it clearly seems that black leaders within the official opposition, which goes against you
Correct.
in elections, is unhappy. Surely you should have your say on that.
Well, of course we do, but you'll accept that as the oldest liberation movement in Africa, when we arrive at a view and effectively go out to pronounce ourselves, we shall have correctly taken stock of what is happening on the ground, having understood the work that the ANC is doing in various metros, including where the ANC leads through coalitions, and begin to say what is the kind of a trajectory that the ANC is expected to be taking forward, and one that has got the ability to galvanize the rest of society. What is important is that we must be able to win and earn the confidence of our people. We must drive forward programs that inspire, that believe amongst the people of South Africa. We have got to treat them as one, regardless of whatever orientation they belong into.
Would you say those cracks are beginning to show quite evidently within the Democratic Alliance with the return of Helen Zille and what we saw today with the resignation of two senior individuals within the opposition?
Well, actually what is happening in the Democratic Alliance has always been what we've always said, that the Democratic Alliance is nothing else but a party that represents the interest of the minority in this country, and that they will always work to make sure that they consolidate that kind of a support base So they are not necessarily a party that represent the aspirations of the people of Nzingi in Venda, or the people of Palabora out in Limpopo, or the people of Soweto here in Johannesburg, or the people of Khayelitsha out in the Western Cape. They are a liberal party that represent minority interest, whereas the ANC is a mass-based movement that needs to take stock, self-introspect, drive forward a renewal program, and one that begins to make everyone understand and believe that it is possible for the ANC to correctly represent their own aspirations.
The Democratic Alliance, seemingly in disarray at this point, would be good news for your political party, the African National Congress. I mean, the DA being the official opposition. And one would argue, I think I saw one of the commentators say this is kind of like a free-for-all at the moment, where the ANC could basically capitalize on this, including the resignation of Herman Mashaba here in Johannesburg.
Well, maybe as a lighter point, make this one that we are not an auction movement. You see, we are a revolutionary movement that bases its agenda on a clearly defined program. We are not a movement that survives out of a scramble, pick and choose and all of that. Those that are found within our fold are members whose conviction is entirely on the things that we are supposed to drive forward to change the living conditions of our people. Even when we've had our own internal differences in the party, we have worked towards making sure that the central feature of everything else we do is the unity of our people. And that is what we are obsessed about. When a party self-destructs in the manner that the DA is doing, it is not necessarily for the ANC to enter that space. The ANC has got its own issues to attend to. The ANC has got to go out there, reflect on what has been its own challenges, and say, what are the kind of programs that the ANC need to be driving forward? Remember, we have got an agenda to change the living conditions of our people. We've got to make sure that we remove our people from the bondage of poverty. We give them a sense of hope. We give them a sense of belief that we could be able to drive forward and champion their own interests.
Mr. Mabe, I'd love to stay on this particular point, but you've certainly made yourself clear that the DA is self-destructing. Let's move on to the 50th anniversary of the Morogoro Conference. That was seen, of course, as a shifting point in the fight for liberation in South Africa. Talk us just very briefly through that and what some of the programs, including, I understand, a lecture which will be delivered by the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday.
Well, thanks for that. In 1969, between the 25th and the 1st of May, the ANC held its consultative conference in Morogoro. And part of the watershed, we call it a watershed moment, because part of the great things that happened at this conference is that the ANC adopted its strategy and tactics document, which gave rise to the notion of a national democratic revolution, which then captured how the ANC is going to be driving, the method that the ANC is going to apply to advance the liberation of the people of South Africa. But one of the things that happened even at that conference was the accommodation of non-Africans within the leadership fold. The Deputy Secretary General of the ANC tells me a story that she would have been 16 at the time. And when they had the news out in Tanzania that non-Africans are now allowed to be part of the leadership construct of the ANC. This meant that the ANC could now be a party that could truly become a representative of the people of South Africa. And it was at that time that there was consensus that one of the things that have got to be dealt with was the issue of inequality, creating a society that all of the people, regardless of their skin colors, could be able to say they belong. Now, as part of celebrating the 50th anniversary of Morogoro, we've agreed on a theme, walking in the footsteps of O.R. Tambo, because O.R. Tambo would have turned 102 on the 27th of October had he been alive. We said, walking in the footsteps of O.R. Tambo, be the renewal. We identified 6 tasks that ANC members are supposed to be doing, and those are just the tasks that every month they've got to make sure that they recruit a new member into the ANC. Now with the resignation of DA members, it looks like we're going to have a lot of work to do. But part of that is that our own members have got to also make sure that they are involved in community development efforts, amongst others, making posts on Facebook, on Twitter, that begins to promote the agenda of the ANC. So part of the lineup of activities, one is a lecture that is going to be addressed by the Treasurer General of the ANC, Comrade Pule Mabe, out in Ekurhuleni tomorrow. There's another program again on Friday. But, well, this is a part of regional solidarity at the Beit Bridge, which is going to be addressed by the Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Ace Magashule. There's the Night of Morogoro, which is a festival of ideas taking place at the Market Theatre on Saturday. On Sunday, the President of the ANC will join the Council of Ekurhuleni first in a government program at the wreath laying at Tata Tambo and Mama Aldilate's gravesite to lay wreath. And afterwards, we'll proceed to Soweto, have lunch with some of the veterans that participated in the Morogoro Conference. But interestingly, there will also be a group of 70 young people identified from across regions who will be part of the, will be representing the 70, will be a simulation of the 70 delegates that participated in the Morogoro Conference. And then in Soweto, during the day,
we had time.
But just to say that the president will then address the lecture that afternoon, Sunday, even as part of the Ziveze program on Sunday in Soweto at the Naledi Hall.
Just very quickly, I'm really going to get into trouble for this at the moment. Would the ANC be interested in wooing any of the DA members who seem seemingly fed up with the direction the DA is taking?
Well, because we are an organization of conviction, we believe that those that would be leaving the DA soon and believe that the Freedom Charter is our maximum program and all other things that are really a construct of our policy positions, if they fit into the values they believe in, and if they believe that working together we can grow South Africa, I mean, our doors are always open. We have got branches. We've got a network of branches across the country.
So the ANC's doors are open for
all right. Not just open, wide open.
Wide open, all right. Thank you very much indeed. The ANC spokesperson, Pule Mabe, talking to us on an array of issues at the moment, but the doors wide open, Pule Mabe says, for those in the DA who are fed up with the party and would want to perhaps join the ANC.